Fueled by a cocktail of alcohol and cocaine, the album and title track Station to Station marks a transition of Bowie's music from Young Americans to Low. His newly created The Thin White Duke character encompassed the crazed persona that David had adopted and featured heavily during this time. Let us travel back to 1976 and look more closely at this track and a period of David Bowie's life on this episode of Contemporary Classics. Just play the damned record. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm really looking forward to this edition of Contemporary Classics. Leave any comments on my Twitter feed below, the address is on screen, and I do love reading them. Due to the success of Young Americans in 1975, Bowie had been granted much more freedom on the way this album was going to develop, and this fitted nicely into the drug-fueled person he had become by this point, who was wholly dependent on cocaine, reading book after book and often not sleeping at all for days on end. The track itself was Bowie's longest track ever at 10 minutes 15 seconds, with the first 3 minutes featuring the sounds of a locomotive churning into action. It's a song in two main sections, a slow pulsating march, until transforming into a celebratory groove to finish. The opening pays homage to a great favourite of Bowie's in the shape of Kraftwerk, whose music he adored. The album marked the creation of a Bowie band that would last for the rest of this decade. Carlos Alomar, Earl Slick on guitars, George Murray on bass, David Davis on drums and Ray Britton on keyboards. The version we'll be looking at is from Glastonbury set in 2000, where he was playing what was to become a setup of musicians he worked with a lot. Apart from Bowie, there's Earl Slick, who played lead guitar, Mark Platini on rhythm, Gail Andorsey on bass, Sterling Campbell on drums, Mike Garson on keyboards, Holly Palmer on percussion and vocals, and Em Griner on keyboards and vocals. The start of the song here is the attempt to recreate the sound of a mighty locomotive starting up. Many thought the title of the track and this obvious link to a train was The Big Connection, but in fact no, the station actually refers to the positions on the cross, these 14 positions on the cross. A very strange sound being created here with reverberations back from the amp systems. Rose about to come onto stage. This is the 2000 Glastonbury set that he did, one of the highlights.
The return of the thin white duke, throwing darts in lovers' eyes. One magical moment, such as this one, the world's dreams are over. Bending sound, dredging the ocean, lost in my circle. Here am I.
actually pattern the style. Presence on the stage is absolutely spellbinding. The song is now about to change its tone, direction, marching sound. Here we go.
Side effects of the cocaine. I'm thinking that it must be love. It's too late to be grateful. It's too late to relate again. It's too late to be hateful. European kindness here. I must be on one of you. I can't pass the day without her.
The reference to the European canon, nobody's really quite sure what that meant. If you've got any idea, just pop them in the comments below. The guitar was absolutely excellent.
To be
pianist was the original one, Aladdin Sane. Making sure white stays. So there you have it. Some have described this album as Bowie's finest work. Whilst not subscribing to that particular point of view, I believe that it rates highly on the list of best Bowie albums. The introduction of the Thin White Duke is a shock and a sharp contrast to the carefree antics of Ziggy Stardust. And this dark element of a drug-dependent world which he was living in is particularly stark. Just to point out, thoughts expressed here are purely personal and not intended to cause offence, with the video created as a reaction to the track only and is meant for educational purposes. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Drop me a like if you have and consider subscribing by pressing the subscribe option and the notification bell. It makes all the difference to the channel. Press on this link here to watch another contemporary classics that I'm sure you will enjoy. Thanks for watching and bye for now.